Welcome to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, the podcast where we make 5-minute decisions that can change your business, your relationships, and your life. Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of ProSulum.com, ProSulum.com, and FreedomIn5Minutes.com, and we're here for another Freedom in 5 Minutes episode. Today's topic is this: busting a hole in a wall can be good and bad. That and more coming up. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening to this. I want to say watching. I need to do more videos on my YouTube channel, but I'll get around to it eventually. Walking the dog right now on the property, looking, and everything looks good. Even though we've had a massive amount of rain, it looks like things are holding up. Our stairs and everything. Can't complain about that. It's great. These paths are looking good, and even the little staircases that don't have any support, they're actually staying the way they were made. That's kind of cool. Anyway, and we've had a ton of rain. We have a ton more coming. So last night, actually over the last few days, but last night I told my wife, you know what, we have this kitchen project that we're doing, and it's been taking a while to do, but I just want to get it done. Let's just get it done. And so one of the things she wanted to do, so basically this is what's going on. In the kitchen, we want to have this kind of rustic country feel. So Home Depot has these big long slats. I forgot what they're called, but basically you can put them, they're big long wooden slats, anywhere between 6 and 12 feet. And you just slide them in together and hammer them up the wall. And so it looks like there's wood on the wall. You can put it over the existing drywall that's there. And so we were doing that, but there was this one area where I accidentally, on one side I put, one side it was correct. The other side I accidentally flipped one of the slats around. Well, my wife, who is very detailed, absolutely amazing woman, noticed this and said, well, I would like for you to flip that other one around, because I actually like the way it looks there while it's backwards. So can we flip the other one backwards right there? And then we'll just go up the normal way, moving up from there. And so lovingly, I said, yes, I can do that. And decided, at least at that time, I said, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. So anyway, tomorrow kind of never came until yesterday. And so finally I said, let's get this done. I'll rip those. So basically I had to rip out a couple of those planks. Well, with ripping out a couple of those planks, because they're hammered in with finish nails, I put a hole in the drywall. Okay. When taking the hammer and, prying out the existing planks, I ended up putting a hole in the drywall, which for anybody doing any type of home improvement, that's really not a big deal. But for me, ever since I got married to the daughter of a general contractor who is used to putting holes in walls and tearing things down, ever since we got married, I have had some kind of anxiety whenever it comes to putting holes in the walls. As soon as it happens, I get this feeling in the pit of my stomach that I do not like. It's just kind of like this feeling of oh no, like I put a hole in the wall when I didn't have to, even though I know how to patch it up. It's not a big deal, but for whatever reason, I start kind of freaking out on the inside. Super weird. And it was funny because I communicated that to my wife today, and not today, but yesterday when we were going through this. And we literally were thinking of the psychology behind this. Because for her, every time a hole is created in the wall or something is destroyed in the house, it is actually a time of celebration and a time of excitement. When she was growing up, because her father and her mom were always doing some kind of project, and those house projects meant that something was always going to be new and change, and it was going to be fun because they would give her the hammer or give her sisters the hammer, and they can go nuts and start destroying stuff. For them, it was a time of change, a time of excitement, a time of expansion. For me, when I grew up, very rarely did we ever do any house projects. Very rarely. At least inside the house. Outside the house, I had an uncle by the name of John who's extremely good and extremely handy, super, super smart. And he would always be improving the house and stuff. It's just something that he liked to do, and he was so good at it. But not really on the inside. There wasn't a lot of change on the inside. So as soon as I see something getting broken inside the house, a lot of the times when something would break inside the house, it would stay broken for a while, right? So for me, it almost feels like this. How do I want to say it? Like this feeling of I'm losing my stability, or I'm losing my security. So when these holes get put in the wall, or new things happen that require some kind of thing breaking, it's not the same for me as it is for my wife. Completely two different views, two different reactions, absolutely 100% different from each other. Why is this important? Because you have the same thing going on. You have the exact same thing going on. It might not be with holes being put in your drywall. It might be with something else. You have an innate reaction to different things that go on in your life that may seem bad to you, but for somebody else, it actually might. For somebody else, maybe your wife or your best friend or a significant other, to them, it's normal. To them, it's great. To them, it's a sign that things are good or growing. Maybe it's the thought of getting a new job. Maybe it's the thought of quitting your job. Maybe it's the thought of starting some kind of new exercise routine, or getting the ability to go on a trip that just kind of popped up. For you, it might make you anxious, right? That trip coming up might make you a little bit anxious. For others, it makes them excited. Everything comes down to the story that you're telling yourself around that thing. That is why for you, it may be bad. It may be a bad thing, a bad omen. For somebody else, it may be a good omen. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. However, because of the story you're telling yourself, that is what determines in your mind whether it's something that's going to be helpful or hurtful, detrimental or bless you. So in the past week or so, what has been that one thing? What has been one thing that you reacted, whether it's a positive or negative, but I would suggest a negative. What's the one thing that you reacted negatively to that on the surface, other people might have reacted very positively? And what I want you to do is just notice why that is. Why is it that you reacted negatively? What is it? What is the story that you're telling yourself about that one thing? When you start analyzing the stories that you're telling yourself, that gives you so much more power, because then you're not held to this idea, you're not held captive by this story anymore. You're not held captive by what you are telling yourself about the situation, when in reality, objectively, there's nothing. There's really no judgment or anything about what actually went on. It could be, you can change that story to where it's something good. So what's that hole in the wall that you're freaking out about? What's the story behind it? All right, this is Dean Soto, Freedom in 5 Minutes. Go to freedomin5minutes.com. Check that out. You get 7 free episodes there that you'll never see anywhere else. And then on top of that, you can go to prosulum.com, prosulum.com, if you want to completely duplicate everything you're doing. Let somebody else do it. Let a virtual assistant overseas do it for very, 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 very inexpensive, very cheaply, I should say, compared to what you could do here in the United States. All that being said, thank you for staying with me during this episode, and I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes episode.